Hello everyone and welcome back. We have some amazing tips for you guys today, all about how a bride and groom can prepare for their wedding day. At least from our perspective anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So we have some amazing tips that we usually tell all of our couples, and so we thought, well, why wouldn't we tell you guys?
Yeah.
Right? I think everybody can probably feel the jitters or the stress when it comes to getting, prepared for your wedding day. It can almost feel like not everything is, in order. So these are some of the top tips that we've seen that really do help make a big difference on your day.
If this is the first video you see from us, my name is Luke and that is Bethany. We're from Loft Studio. We're a husband and wife team that do photo and video for weddings primarily, and we have a passion for helping you elevate your business.
We release videos every week with strategies and tips that you can use to help, start making some money doing what you love.
Exactly.
So we've been able to build our business and we really want to help others do the same. So one of the probably most obvious things that you need to do to prepare is to go and get a marriage license. I know that when we were getting married, had we not talked to an officiant, we had no idea that we had to actually physically go in. Now where we're from, that's what you have to do. Perhaps in your area you don't have to. And maybe
COVID might have changed things too,
maybe
right?
even COVID has changed things, but in our case we had to go in to the local sort of municipal area office. And we had to show ID and answer a couple of questions. Do you remember what the most awkward question was?
Yeah, it was like, are you brother and sister?
Are you related? So that was kind of funny, and it definitely threw us off guard a little bit, like, no.
Like, darn, we are. Oh, can't get married.
Do you remember what the guy said as well?
No, I don't remember what
he was like, would you guys have, because we were kind of joking with him, and he's like, would you guys have family dinners together?
Oh, that's right.
That's how he said it. So that's how you know if you're related or not. So yes, you cannot be related. And we just had to show our ID and fill out some paperwork. And then I think they sent it to us in the mail. I can't really remember, but
Well, we had to have it for the officiant on the day of, and then once that's done, we have to mail it in for the real thing.
Yeah, so on the day of, you'll have to sign the thing and have witnesses, sign the license, and then you have to mail it in. And another thing that we didn't know as well is that it does take quite a few weeks to get your actual license back. So it takes, I don't know, I think it took like 9 or 12 weeks or something to get ours back. And then I had to go and do the whole change the name and all that kind of stuff. You don't have to, but it was a bit of a pain.
It becomes really obvious when couples have done a rehearsal or have practiced before a ceremony or even before some events that are happening at a venue. The rehearsals are usually the day before, maybe a couple days before. I'm not exactly too sure when it happens, but it's very, very noticeable when people know where to stand, what time some things happened, what music to walk down to. All these little things play a factor in being comfortable, being confident on your wedding day and during the ceremony when, the jitters can start coming up, especially when you're just a wedding party. Where do you stand? How do you hold your hands? How far apart are you? There's so many little details that can make a picture look really good or things to look not symmetrical, and it would look weird in photos and videos.
Yeah, so from our experience, we've found that sometimes like the bridal party will stand in like an awkward line, or they don't line up, or some people will hold the bouquet at their belly button and other ones will hold them down with just one hand, or the guys are, some guys have their hands in their pockets and other ones kind of have them crossed in the front. So it's just like when you're going to take, a nice shot of everybody standing up at the altar, there's nothing worse than seeing, like everybody doing kind of a different thing. And not in a, not that it's bad, but it really does make a difference when everyone is sort of lined up the right way, the distancing makes sense, and they just want to make sort of a cohesive look, especially on your wedding day. And knowing who kind of goes first, I know that sounds silly, but who walks down the aisle, and when do they walk down the aisle? Do they start walking down the aisle as soon as you guys start walking down, making sure that you guys have, you know, those kind of conversations with your wedding party will make everything sort of run smooth.
When talking about ceremonies, sometimes the religious ones will have readings. This is really important to let your wedding team know, the photographer, videographer, day of coordinator, venue, those kinds of people can make it a lot easier.
DJ too.
Well, the DJ, that's right. If there's a microphone or whatever is involved, it's really important to let those people know, because then they'll see it coming, they'll be ready, they'll be able to change the direction. As a videographer, it's really important that we capture the audio as well, and I think that's probably the most important part, is that they're close enough to a microphone, or we can mic the speakers separately compared to everyone else, and then at least we're preemptively ready for that to happen.
Yeah, we had a wedding once where they didn't let us know that this is happening, but to be fair, I don't know if we really would have been able to mic every single person that stood up, but they had random people in the audience essentially stand up and start speaking, and Luke and I both looked at each other just like, I guess we're not getting that, because there was no way, nobody was speaking into a microphone, it was just not being recorded. So it kind of sucks that, you know, and I think, you know, if you want to relive your day to not have part of it, I think from a bride and groom perspective, that's not a great experience. But had we had known ahead of time, we would have said like, okay, perhaps, you know, we should have them come up to a microphone and then we can record them. We can have somebody aim a camera that way, like that type of stuff. But, you know, in hindsight, it is what it is. But, you know, we would have preferred to have it the other way.
Yeah, because not only do we not, you know, capture everything that's part of your wedding day, I catch myself just feeling bad that I couldn't do more with what I had. I wanted to deliver the best product ever, and then if something like that just happens, it just, you know, throws a wrench in things.
Yeah, so making sure that you give your vendors as much, you know, heads up about those types of things is really what we're trying to give as a tip here. One thing that we tell all of our couples, and I mean all of them, is to have details ready in advance. Now, what we mean by details are things like the dress, the suit, your shoes, cufflinks, wedding rings, invitations, all of those things.
Socks, watches, earrings,
perfume,
hair pieces.
Yeah, everything. Have all of those things ready and ahead of time. So we actually tell our couples that they should have a box that they kind of have. So for the bride and the groom, they each have their own box, and they start putting their detail things, you know, as they're planning their wedding, as they purchase things in those boxes, and they start to think about what they really want to have documented on their day. So that box is really the one thing that when we arrive, we're looking for. So we're looking for the dress, we're looking for the suits, the shoes, and the box. So we know that essentially when we arrive that everything's going to be in there, and if it's not in there, it's not our fault if it's not documented. I mean, obviously if something is missed and they tell us, we're going to take it, but you know, we know and our couples know that everything that is in that box is definitely needs to be taken into, you know, photographed in detail. Yeah,
exactly. And the easiest trick, if you don't have a box, is it's a shoe box.
Yeah,
if you bought new shoes for that day, keep the shoes in there and you start piling all the little things in there.
And we know you got new shoes. I mean, why wouldn't you get new shoes for your wedding, right? I mean, it's the one day that you can splurge, right? So definitely.
Little Vera Wang.
I mean, there's so many different types of shoes. I definitely recommend that you start to put those things aside and have them ready for us when we arrive. There's nothing worse than me or Luke having to go around and ask people for things because we can't find them, or groomsmen are having to like open up the packaging if they've rented their suits.
Yeah, the renting of the suits.
That's like such a big pain. Or I'll have like couples who are bridesmaids that are steaming dresses and things like that. That should all be done in advance. If not, like have like a preparation day, the day like the weekend before your wedding. A pizza party where you get everything ready. It's all in a room ready to go, and then that way you guys can just like chill and enjoy that day and getting ready process. A little bonus tip is that we always recommend that the bride actually has all of the rings for the getting ready portion of the day. All three. So both wedding bands and obviously her engagement ring. So we recommend that you have those, as well as have the bouquets delivered before we even arrive. So if you can have those delivered, you know, like at least an hour before we arrive in case they're running late, that is ideal, and that's what we recommend to all of our couples.
Yeah, and typically we arrive, I would say, on a regular day, like noonish, right?
Yeah, noon is probably like a good
around
estimate.
there. So just to give you an idea.
A big pain point that we all feel on a wedding day, you know, especially if you're a member of the family on a wedding day, is those family photos. I can't tell you how many times that, I think not so much now, but perhaps in the beginning, that I used to feel like that was probably the most stressful part of any wedding day for not only myself, but for my couples. So what I realized is the best thing that we can do is to try and like eliminate all of that stress and eliminate all of those problems.
How are you gonna do that?
And the best way that I figured out how to do it is to come up with a list ahead of time. Also create that list so that essentially it's in order of, you know, sort of the most amount of people that you need at first, and then it kind of slims down to the least amount of people that you need. And obviously the wedding party, I mean, they're in it for the whole day, so they need to be last as well. Yeah. Sadly, I know. But that means that they can also be there to help you sort of gather people if need be. But we recommend to all of our couples that they have a list created ahead of time, and usually it's about no more than 10 combinations, and we say that because it usually takes about 2 to 3 minutes, I would say on average, for each combination. Now some can go faster than others, you know, especially if we're looking for Uncle Bob who's at the bar.
Someone's in the bathroom, they haven't seen each other for a while.
Yeah, especially like after these, you know, once COVID's finally gone or people haven't seen each other forever, it's going to be even worse. But so we recommend that you have a list, no more than about 10 combinations, unless you really want to take about an hour for family photos. And essentially you want to assign a member from each side of your family, you know, at least the week before, a couple weeks before, and saying, look, I need you to be responsible to help me find all of these people after the ceremony or whatever it is that you're doing your
at
photos.
3:30 we need to be at this location with these amount of people. Let's go.
And a bonus tip, and what like one of our couples did fantastic job of it's still the wedding that I talk about the most. She literally emailed the entire list in combination to every person that was on that list, and everyone, I kid you not, was lining up getting ready for photos because they all had their phones out, they knew the list and the combinations, and they lined themselves up, and it was probably the most stress-free wedding, bridal photo, family photo portion of the day that I've ever had. So I really do recommend that you do that, and I'm not saying that everyone's gonna line up for you, but hey, if we can get like 20% of them to do that a year, that would be really amazing. True. Right? Girl can wish, right?
As you can tell, we're kind of going through this chronologically. So now moving into grand entrance and the reception. An MC is really valuable as a team member, especially for us vendors. We leverage the MC to make sure that all the music is played on time when we're ready, because we do have a lot of setup to do. We have tripods to set up, more audio equipment to go into the venue or with the DJ. We have the microphones, we have to make sure that we're capturing the audio that way. So there's a lot of little things that need to be set up, and the worst thing is to start something without us being ready. Now, this is something that we coordinate with the MC. We have to make sure that somebody that is sober at the time. Sometimes it can get a little out of hand, you know, later on in the night. Somebody that at least knows the family members or the people that are gonna be introduced. And then somebody that is just, you know, willing to just be a part of the team that day. I find that they're just as much a part of our team as anyone else, as like the day of coordinator of the venue.
And a big key thing as well that we found is that, don't get me wrong, we love DJs, we love you guys are the best, but we love an MC. I just feel like it gives such a more personable side to really get to sort of intro people. They have funny personal stories. I don't know. It's my opinion anyways, but I do love a good MC, and I do recommend that if you have someone that you're not sure who you would, you know, they don't necessarily fit in for speeches, an MC is a good way to sort of get them up there in front of you.
That's true.
Yeah.
You didn't make the cut, but we have a spot for you.
You can be my MC. last but not least, we recommend that you at least hire not only a day of coordinator, but a wedding planner if you haven't done that already. Now, of course, that might be easier said than done for some people. It might not be in the budget for others, but there's one thing that we don't want you to do on your wedding day, and that is to be stressing and trying to set up details. There's nothing worse than trying to, feel like you have to do all of these things, and then at the end of the night, you're saving $300, but you're having to tear down everything. Now, you might have the most amazing friends and family, and they're willing to do all those things for you, but this is your day. Enjoy this day. You're spending a lot of money on other things. I know it seems like almost a waste, but that time, especially now, given, we're going through this world pandemic and not being able to spend time with people, this is really going to be key when it comes to, future weddings and things like that. So I would really recommend that you invest in a coordinator who can make sure that everything goes off exactly the way you want it, if not better, I think, because they have tons of experience, right? They do this every weekend. You do this once, hopefully. They do it every weekend, sometimes, through 2 or 3 days in that weekend. And they have a ton of experience. And, from our perspective as well, from a vendor's perspective.
Yeah, it just makes the day easier working with a professional.
They know what to do. They're confirming everything. They're in touch with all of your vendors. It really is such a flawless process when you're working with somebody who really knows the ins and outs of a wedding.
Yeah, wedding planners and day of coordinators are really great for everyone, for both stress relief on our side and stress relief for the couple. Because the day is really about you. You're going to remember this for the rest of your life, so it's worth the investment.
One key thing that you can do to prepare as a bride and groom before your wedding, I know this sounds crazy, but you should write your vows ahead of time.
Unless you're doing repeated vows, then you should write your speech ahead of time.
Yeah, at least your vows and your speech ahead of time. And the reason for that is that it's kind of hard to just do it and just wing it. If you're a person that can do that, then that's great. But sometimes getting up in front of a whole bunch of people that you know, or even people that you may not completely know that well, can be really intimidating. And if you've had a couple drinks, you've been in the sun all day, it can be, you want it to be something that's good. You don't want to get up there and forget to say thank you to people, which we've seen. You don't want to get up there and have to forget or blank out on all the things you really wanted to say, that really wanted to sort of, have your moment to say those things in front of your friends and family. So making sure that you write it in advance, and we recommend that you write your speech together if you can. You can take that opportunity if you're doing sort of, like Luc said, those vows that are pre-scripted, or you're just repeating after the officiant or the priest. But you can take a moment at the speech if you want at the end of the night to say some nice things about each other. So you could write that separately if you wish. But you should have something that kind of comes together that really sort of ties in the whole day. So thanking your parents, thanking your family members, thanking your vendors. We always love to get thanked. We're kind of like a sucker for that. We always kind of gauge how much they liked us if they thank us in their thank you speech. And, really making sure that you're taking the time to also, thank each other, right? This is such an amazing journey that you guys are about to take on, and have been on. Yeah. And so it's really a great opportunity for you guys to say nice things about each other, and about the people who've also influenced you in your life, because I'm assuming they're going to be there or in the room with you. So saying nice things about your parents, saying nice things about your friends or people who've influenced your life is really a nice time to use that speech time for that.
Yeah, and like Bethany said, you guys can write it together, or a portion of it together, but what's even more important than that is, if you're writing it apart, just tell each other how the structure is going to go. Nothing's worse than somebody, two separate vows, and one of them is 10 minutes long and the other one is 30 seconds, It's not really a lot of congruity, a lot of, common. So just say, okay, it's gonna be, I promise 5 different things. They could be funny, they could be sad or whatever. But as long as you have kind of like an intro and then a bunch of promises and then an outro, whatever it is that you want to do, just make it similar so that, it looks like it was planned and not just kind of thrown together.
Yeah, some of our best moments that we love are when couples kind of create some moments of, I don't know how you would say, this, but just like it's almost like a moment of laughter, like just that moment where it just brings everything down. I know on our wedding day, and I'll never forget, my brother said something really funny during
his speech
his
or whatever.
speech. Well, it was
his
a reading
his
during
reading,
our
yeah.
ceremony, and up until that point, I don't really remember what was happening. I was just like over like excited and nervous, and I just was like freaking out. So to have him sort of bring that moment of just like laughter, and just it brought me down to like my normal self all of a sudden. So bringing that
laughter and joy into a speech or into your vows can really change the mood, or at least, you know, trigger more like being comfortable.
Yeah, it'll just make you feel more comfortable, and you'll just be able to enjoy everything a little bit more. So it won't feel like, oh my gosh, get this over with, because it's really nerve-wracking sometimes. For me it was anyways. It wasn't for you, I don't think, but it really was for me.
It was all right.
You didn't have to walk down the aisle, so. And my dress almost caught on fire.
Yeah.
So that's another reason, probably.
I had to watch that happen.
That's a whole other story, but yeah, that was funny. So bonus tip here, you know, we're all about the bonuses, is that we really want you to both have a good time on your day.
That's what's most important.
And no matter what, we really do recommend that you take some time for the two of you. So take a break if you can, get away, just the two of you. And also just make sure that you're scheduling, you know, you're not putting too much in your schedule, essentially.
Yeah.
You know, we do help our couples build a timeline. That's something that we do pride ourselves on, because we've seen a lot of weddings, but we understand that budgets are tight and you really want to try and get as much in there as possible. But it's not going to be as fun for you, I mean, or us, if you're trying to cram as many things in. I mean, things are going to get missed. You're going to want to enjoy that day or spend that extra 5 minutes with that grandma. You know, taking those moments are really what we do recommend to all of our clients. Without them, I think you just feel like the whole day was a blur, and we don't want that for you. We want
It almost feels like it would be work. You know, you're because you're always just stressed about the next thing, and what did I just miss, or did I forget something, and you're just kind of going all over the place. It just leaves more chances that, you know, errors can happen.
Yeah.
As well.
Some of our most, you know, relaxed weddings, it's almost like we're so used to doing them like quite fast. We're just not sure what to do with ourselves. So there is a balance, and we will definitely bring that to you, where there's going to be enough to get all of the things you want, but also be able to spend time with your family. And I think that no matter what going forward is that's going to be key, especially to all the weddings that are happening from now on.
Yeah, we generally like to put buffers in between all the events. And then sometimes even specifically the COVID ones we've done this year, where they've wanted, you know, 8 hours of events in 4 hours. And let me tell you, it is a lot of work on both sides, because the bride and groom also have to do a lot of events back to back, and you could tell at the end they were just tired.
They're pooped, yeah.
They were tired.
They just wanted to sit down and eat.
And so did we.
Yeah.
You know?
So definitely take your time, and remember, like, this is just one day, right? So enjoy it. You do want to enjoy it. And we will get the important moments, we promise, but you need to have time for just the two of you. It's about you.
Yeah. In the end, it's a day you'll remember always.
We've gone ahead and created a beautiful guide with all of our best tips and tricks and secrets that can really help you and your beautiful bride
Or groom
prepare for your wedding. So it's going to be in the link below, so head on over to the description, click on the link so you can download this amazing guide.
Yep.
And we're also going to send you other cool tips and tricks as well. So making sure that you go on there, you'll get on an email list, and you'll also get all of the bonuses and tips that we provide to all of our couples. So you really do have nothing to lose by signing up.
Yeah, and we'd love to hear from you. If there's any questions that we didn't answer, leave them in the comments. You can always just, you know, drop whatever it is that you like the best, or if you want us to cover other things, whatever you want.
Yeah. You can also follow us on Instagram, and I'm at Loft Studio.
Loft Video.
He's at Loft Video. We always love to chat with potential couples, or even if you live far away, we were happy to help you with anything to do with preparing for your wedding.
Even wedding vendors. You know, we love chatting with you guys. We love everything wedding.
We do. We're kind of obsessed. So if you haven't already, give a like to this video and make sure you subscribe because there's always going to be good tips coming from this channel. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week because we release videos every single week. And if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe.